from Goalpost Studios in downtown East Lansing, Michigan,
Hello and welcome to the Earn More, Keep More show.
where it's our job to give you tips, tricks, and strategies to earn more and keep more. I'm Dave McAndrews, and I believe that we should focus our marketing on messages that are all about our clients so that we can connect with them in a way that they can understand.
And I'm Matt Love, and I believe in being efficient with our companies so that we are able to keep more of what we make.
Me up beautifully, and that's why I stay plugged in, and I always contribute to my community.
All right, we're set?
Good. And as a disclaimer for anyone looking at home, a headset adds 4 pounds to the human head.
That's right, and the human head on average weighs 8 pounds, so now you have a 12-pound head.
It's substantial.
Granted, your head may have been pushing 10 on its own.
Thanks, Mom.
Because, what was that, Ernie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's keep going.
All right, so one of the things that is great about working with entrepreneurs and business people who are really making it happen, is generally whatever they do is built out of some sort of what I consider a superpower. Something that they have in them that is unique to them, that they are able to then own and find a way to monetize. And what separates the entrepreneurial class from everybody else, because absolutely everybody has some sort of superpower that they can lean on, or that they have developed to such a point that it can be very effective. But the entrepreneurial class, they've taken it to a whole nother level. They've turned it into a business. And for that type of person, business can be kind of the ultimate expression of who they are and what they do, what they're all about. Matt,
I'm going
yeah.
to ask you first here. What if you had, just be humble about it here. I don't want to get you too excited. But what would you define as your superpower?
My superpower?
Yeah.
The ability to connect the dots. And my ability to connect the dots is, and this is one of the cool things about superpowers, because I think that they are often built on the back of a great weakness. And they're one of the things, so Superman, in my opinion, is a terrible character.
I think there's millions of Americans that would disagree.
Here's why I believe that Superman is a terrible character.
Sure, hit me.
Because he's Superman. And Superman, whatever instance, like in order to make a movie, Batman versus Superman, you have to significantly find a way to jack back Batman up so that he's even in the same playing field as Superman. You have to artificially change the game. In reality, most of us have serious weaknesses that you deal with. And those weaknesses are the thing that makes you human, the thing that makes you a vulnerable character.
Sure.
The reason Superman is a terrible character is he has very limited vulnerabilities.
Kryptonite.
Kryptonite is his one vulnerability, but you have to find a green rock from another planet in order to have that vulnerability.
Very tough.
It's very hard to create a sympathetic character out of that.
Okay, so what does that mean?
That means that the weaknesses that folks have and have developed and have compensated for, that have significantly strengthened a different part of their personality or who they are, those weaknesses are actually the backhand strengths that create the basis for superpowers. In my particular case, I didn't know this until I was older because they did not have good screening for this, but I'm dyslexic. And today, if you come to our offices and we do a session together, I'm going to use a great big whiteboard and I'm going to write all over it, and I'm going to misspell maybe a third of the words.
Yeah.
And I will tell you,
I've seen that in action too.
You have seen that in action, and I will tell you that it's going to happen, and I'm going to tell you that it's going to be bad, but we're going to get through that part, and the end product is going to be really good. One of the things that dyslexia did for me is the fact that when I first started learning to read, I would see the first letter or first two letters, and I would guess the word. See the letters, guess the word. You know what? I became really good at that.
Wow.
Being able to fill in the blanks. And what that translates to me as a grown-up, as a business person, is now I can see trends, or I can see something on somebody's website, or I can see something in somebody's marketing plan, and I can immediately, because this is the way that my brain works now because of this, and this is why I consider this my superpower, is being able to take that information and extrapolate the next 10 things that you need to in order to get to the next point.
Interesting.
And so mine, it's not only connecting the dots, it's filling in blanks that people didn't really know are there in order to fill in the information. And being able to do that throughout my professional career as a sales leader, I was able to do that in that arena. Basically, you're only given a few pieces of information, and you have to extrapolate a bunch and figure out how all of these interactions are happening on the other side. And being able to fill in those blanks was something that I really enjoyed and excelled at. And now, doing what I do on the sales and marketing side, helping companies put together plans and strategies and doing all that sort of thing, it is exactly what I need in order to help somebody execute to get them to the next level. And that is the most fun I can have with my clothes on, is being able to do that on a regular basis with new clients, and being able to build clients over a number of years, and always being able to extrapolate what's next. So, and I believe that type of thing, that superpower, is within a lot of our listeners, a lot of the business owners, because they generally start with something that they have an inclination to or they're good with, and then they go with it.
The business coach Dan Sullivan, I think he's out of Chicago, he calls this idea the unique ability.
Yeah.
And what is your unique ability? And rather than, it's funny how you identified the weakness.
Right.
And instead of fixing and working and spending time on making your weakness okay, that helps you identify what you're already good at, your unique ability or your superpower, and you can exploit that, making that to the next level, because that's what's going to separate you from everybody else.
Absolutely. And I think that every business owner out there has something that is their unique ability, that is their superpower, and they have that ability to really ramp that into something special. Now, the problem with superpowers is generally they come with some sort of weakness. And understanding your weakness is almost as important, or maybe even more important, than understanding your strength. Because if you can understand your weakness and then build a team around that weakness and find a way to connect people and reach out to people with what you're good at, but augment yourself with folks who are good at things that you're not, that is what allows you to really grow and develop a business in a way that a singular superpower can't do by itself.
Yeah. What a phenomenal way to look at it. There hasn't been any successful business owner that I've listened to speak that doesn't give credit to a team behind them that is phenomenal at stuff that, quite frankly, they didn't want to do because they weren't good at it. What they're good at, they've identified early, and they exploit that.
You don't know what you don't know.
And I think the you don't know what you don't know today is the idea that if you have something that you are excellent at, be excellent at it.
Exactly.
If you have something that you're terrible at,
get somebody else to do it.
figure out how to augment that. Too many entrepreneurs believe that because they're good in one area, and I hate to point out my doctor friends, but a lot of doctors, for instance, they've grown up being the smartest guy in the room in every room that they're in.
Yeah, if you don't know, just ask them and they'll tell you.
Yes, so they've had that their entire life. So they went through school, top of their class, and then they get to the point where they move into a practice, and then they go out on their own, and they're starting a practice and developing it. And they have spent so much time in the academic literature and developing their strengths and really to the detriment of not developing anything in areas that they aren't as strong, such as business and business acumen.
I'm going to bring up a quick
Sure.
little tidbit in this because the name of the show is Earn More, Keep More. And as we're talking about how to earn more by exploiting your unique ability or your superpower, in that same instance, there is a ton of very educated, very smart, intelligent, successful people. You named a type, I'm going to say physician, who gets aligned with someone who understands how to exploit that intelligence and exploit their ignorance when it comes to other aspects. And quite frankly, they're so good at doing what they do, they don't even want to stop for a second to look back at and say, well, should I learn a little bit about this or should I understand this better? And they trust. They get advisors that they trust who don't have the best interest of these extremely successful people. And I've seen more often than not these high income earners that are not necessarily entrepreneur business owner type, the physician type, very high income earners, make some of the worst financial mistakes and they lose so much money from that. And now their income kind of justifies those mistakes, and it allows those mistakes not to be as catastrophic as they would be for someone who's making less money. But at that income level, those mistakes are still really big mistakes. Your point is not only do you exploit what you're really good at, but by having a team that helps with the stuff that you're not, that you can trust. And so your dyslexia, for example, you recognize that was the problem. So what you do today really doesn't have anything, you don't have to spell well. It's funny because when we did our brainstorming session one time, Dave's all over the wall, he's writing all these words. I'm telling you, 30% of all the words were misspelled. Didn't matter. We still got to where we wanted to go.
On the internet line or in the room with us is someone that is taking meticulous notes.
Yep.
And polishing all of the crap that I'm throwing up on the board and getting it into a format that is going to be excellent.
Yeah.
But too many people, too many entrepreneurs think that, okay, I have to be good, opposite of what you were talking about in terms of, you're just trusting the wrong people and they're taking advantage of you.
Yeah.
Too many entrepreneurs believe that they have to hold on to every aspect of the organization.
If I were guilty of something, I would be guilty of that.
A little bit, you think?
Oh, come on. I am.
You haven't noticed that at all.
You know I am.
Your desire to keep control is a major limiting factor for a lot of entrepreneurs. And the thing is, they have become successful based off of a very particular skill set. And they believe that in order to become more successful, they have to be better at more skill sets. Well, unfortunately, you're not going to get, if you have that kryptonite thing that is your major weakness, if you have something that you're an F at, you can get to a D, maybe a C, but you're not going to be an A. Too many people say, okay, I got to get my F to a B, and burn tremendous amounts of time and energy in order to make that shift and make that change, when they could have easily empowered someone within their organization, within their team, to make up for that particular thing so that they can be awesome at what they're good at.
So what if I'm a C at something? Now, this is a question for the listeners, right? So if I want to be good at something, I want to be able to earn more. What if I'm a C? I can kind of do, and I'm asking for a friend, by the way. This isn't for my own personal stuff. Let's say I'm a C.
Sure.
Can I answer my own question?
Yeah.
Do I build my C? And the answer is maybe. It depends, because how much time does the C task take me away from my A task?
So what I would say to that is, for an entrepreneur to have a relatively balanced skill set can be helpful, because if you have a relatively balanced skill set where you have C's, a C student can at least look at the A student and know if they're an A student. Mm-hmm. An F student looking at an A student can't figure out why they're an A, because they don't understand why they're an F.
Yeah.
So if you have average capability in many different aspects, you can drive a little bit more success for your organization. However, spending the time to move from a C to an A
on maybe a few of those tasks,
I would say I want to spend as much time as I possibly can in my A tasks.
Yep.
If I can move a little bit, if I have time past that, and just about every entrepreneur has more time than just doing what they feel
That's
born
tough.
to do.
That's tough. Think about this. Any listeners right now, it's a new year. We have this New Year's habits builder, New Year's resolution thing that we've got some people talking about, and people are sharing their ideas. What is it that you have planned out this year that you are going to tackle that in the back of your mind you might not want to, because it's going to take away from those A tasks? And I guarantee everyone listening who does have a business has they could make a list of 2 or 3 things. I should probably get somebody else to help me with that.
And making that decision earlier rather than later.
Oh, again, my favorite quote is, time is my biggest asset. And we're wasting it by waiting. So anyone listening, go online and share what you would change this year, because I don't think you're going to be alone. I want to hear what most people are struggling with and how they're going to get more help in what aspects.
EarnMoreKeepMore.show is where you can find us, and you can connect that to all of the socials. Some good conversations going on in the Facebook group.
Yeah.
So join us there. But really, it's all about how do we accentuate our superpower? What do you think your superpower
I knew you were going to
is?
ask me this. So for all the listeners, I didn't know what the topic of today was. So this is kind of
Surprise!
fun. I love freestyling this stuff. I love not having to prep too much going into this, because it's just mindset. Dave and I have a great mindset together to freestyle. But I don't know what my unique ability is. I would say, in the most humble way possible, there was a long time in my life where I didn't know. And I was fascinated with the idea of people defining themselves. I used to sit back and be like, how does someone know what they're good at? How do you say that? I used to look at it as egotistical. Why do you care so much about what I meet people? Well, I'm like this, and I do this, and this is who I am. I thought, how can, and you're limiting yourself. I used to think definitions, to define something confines it, and it makes it that thing. So I was never eager to do this, but I would like to believe that my unique ability is the ability to connect with people. I really do. I used to say when I was a kid, I hate people. I don't hate people. I love people. I hated the idea of being like a server at a restaurant where they don't get any respect. All these people come in and eat, and they don't tip well, and the server is working hard. And I thought, God, I never wanted to be in that position. Now, I love meeting new people. And even when I was in college and I had no income and I didn't have a career, I would love connecting my friends. And I could identify people that had these different mindsets and do great things for each other. I have a great friend from college, phenomenal graphic artists, phenomenal. I have another friend who coaches sports like wakeboarding and snowboarding. Well, I hooked up one of the wakeboarders with the graphic artist guy so that my graphics buddy did the wakeboard design for this kid's first pro model board. How cool is that? And I didn't get anything out of that other than the satisfaction of going, gosh, that was cool. My unique ability is being able to connect with people. This is why I feel so darn blessed being able to do what I do. I help people achieve financial success by just showing them the rules. I have an undergrad and a master's degree in architecture. I thought my whole life I was going to be an architect and do drawings. It turns out that's a very unfulfilling career. To sit in front of a computer and click a little button and do a drawing. I had to get out of there. And now I can utilize my ability to talk with people, connect with people, and say things like, look, if I could help you get to where you want to go, would you want me to do that for you?
It may have been an unfulfilling career for you, but I think that the foundations, for the architectural term, basically the rules and the design of what you do is very much kind of the principles, all of those things that you help to teach. You're now kind of marrying those two halves of what you do. You have the structure that you're able to bring to people and help them develop that structure.
Yep.
But it's done in a much more personal way, and you don't have to spend 6 years trying to build a building.
Yes, gosh, and you can see the satisfaction and the gratification is almost immediate. But applying principles and all those architectural rules and all that reason into what we do, and then being able to connect with people, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing. I consider myself a wealth architect now.
And wealth architecture is something that anybody espousing to want to earn more and keep more should be very
Absolutely.
interested
It
in.
doesn't take a professional college degree to become a wealth architect, I'll tell you that. You can save a lot of money. You just go straight to wealth architecture.
Well, but you did have to figure out where those principles were.
Completely, yeah.
And develop the structure of the principles so that you would be able to share them. And I would think that a lot of what you learned helped build that foundation for being able to explain it in a way that, blueprints. If you ever sit in a meeting with Matt, he will have a piece of paper out and he will be drawing on it the entire time, basically trying to figure out how are you currently structuring your money and things like that, so that you have, by the end of that conversation, you have an idea or a little bit of a blueprint on how to think about these things. And that is a tremendous skill that I think comes straight off the drafting board.
Yeah, I would disagree. I think if you can, most of them, my client interactions aren't always face to face. Like us getting together is really cool. A lot of my stuff is, we talk to people all over the country. So I do stuff online. So a lot of my drawings and presentations are done online. And I think that how that comes across is going to help with that connection. If my unique ability is to connect with people, I got to help them see what we're talking about. And I think I literally don't even think I have a job. I tell my wife all the time, I don't even think I do not work.
If you love what you do, you'll never work a day in your life.
It's the cheesiest fortune cookie I've ever seen, but gosh, does it feel good when it comes to reality?
It really does, and I feel the exact same way. Obviously, like anybody, there are days that just suck. I remember coming into the office after a long break. That first day, it's just going to be painful because you're not going to be able to get straight to the things that you love. But if you are able to really focus on those tasks that you excel at, those tasks that were built off of your superpower, and figure out how to let go a little bit.
Gosh, that is so hard for so many people, Dave.
So, the Grapes of Wrath. What's the name of the character, Lenny or something like that? So petting the bunny.
Yeah.
So you have the bunny. You're petting the bunny. Yes,
He's petting the air.
I am petting the air where the bunny is, and you love the bunny, and you hold the bunny, and you squeeze the bunny, and he kills the bunny, folks. He kills the bunny, and this is
Tommy Boy in that one. Your little sailor, you're gonna loving and pet it, and then.
So whether if you go Tommy Boy or Grapes of Wrath, it's the same thing. If you try to hold on to pieces of your company too tightly, you are going to really crush the people that are trying to help you. You are going to find the limits of your ability. A person with a good team around them does not have limits to their ability.
Yeah.
Because they will just add more pieces to the puzzle that can allow them to get to a new level.
Yeah.
A person who controls everything as tightly as they possibly can will always have limits to their ability because they will be limited by themselves. I have always said that I want to hire people who are much better than me in whatever area it is, because I wouldn't be hiring them if I could do the same thing.
Your team is blushing right now behind the camera.
Yes, well, it's very true, because I want them to be awesome at what they do.
Yeah,
I can be awesome at what I do, and
you've got a great team too, and it's a desirable position to be in. That's for sure.
Yeah, and I believe that a lot of business owners want so much to be the smartest guy in the room in every circumstance that they really crush their team.
There's a lot of business owners that can see some success. Now, success is a relative term. I'm saying that they can probably draw pretty good income, which again is a relative term, but they can be okay.
Yeah.
But if you want to see greatness, you can't control everything. You just can't.
You absolutely can't. And this is the trick, right? So someone has a superpower. They're really good at one specific thing. And they create the business, they get some initial success, and that success can either feed into the negative or it can feed into the positive. If they go and continue to try to hold on to everything the same way they did on day one of their business, they will hit a ceiling, and they'll keep smacking into that ceiling over and over again.
And the ceiling might be high.
Yeah, the ceiling may be $10 million.
Well, if it's $10 million, I wouldn't fix it myself.
No, I have had clients who have smashed their head into the ceiling at $10 million over and over again because of the fact that if you walk into a meeting at their business, they are the only person that talks.
Oof.
If
Oof.
clients,
I don't want a business like that at all.
clients and business owners and people who are out there, if you have a staff meeting and you are the only person on your staff that talks, you need to check yourself.
Here's the takeaway.
There's a couple of things here. One is the fact that if you can self-identify some of the areas that you are really trying to manage and control and crush and kill like Tommy Boy or Lenny, or if you can figure out what does my superpower really look like and what is my kryptonite, if I can find out those two things, and you can start thinking about those two things in a way that is really healthy and productive, it is going to remove the ceiling and allow for the folks who have done really well, but they hit the top of their abilities.
Yep.
And if you don't continue to adapt and change, if you're not growing, you're dying. And I really believe that that's true for business. It's true for people in general. If you're no longer looking to learn new and important information and adapt and change, it goes back to the idea of endurance and inertia. So inertia, that inability to move, that block that is in your way. If you're not able to remove that, or you're not able to work with a team in order to create that momentum, you're dead in the water.
Mm-hmm.
You may be earning a decent living.
So the takeaway is then find out what your unique ability is.
Yes.
Which for some people, like I was saying for myself, was hard. It felt like egotistical to even try and define myself. But
was it egotistical to try to define yourself, or do you feel limited by naming something?
I felt both. I'm like, why should I care so much about my own? Like, I just didn't like the idea of it, and then I didn't like the idea of confining myself. So I was not. So if it comes down to it, I was not motivated to define myself. I just didn't want to.
And I've felt that same way at different points in my life, where I want to be good at everything.
Yeah.
You want to be excellent. You want to be that jack of all trades, but the saying "jack of all trades, master of none,"
it's so true now.
It's there for a reason.
Yeah, everyone's going to figure this out.
But if you can get good enough to where you can identify folks who have talent and work with them and allow their talent to shine and not be threatened by that fact.
So there's a sense of humility that has to come into play here.
Oh, absolutely.
So here's the takeaway.
Yeah.
Find out what you're good at. And
Took us a minute to get back to the takeaway, but here we go.
And if we don't know exactly what it is, make a point to define that. And it could be something that you want. Start with what you want it to be. And then people around you will help say if that's actually what you're good at or not. But then by getting closer to what you want or what you are good at, it's going to get you closer to what you're not good at. And so the task is find out what you want to change. How can you bring someone into your business that can help you with the things that you're not great at so that you can spend more time on the things that you are great at?
Beautiful.
I like that idea.
Let's do that. So please join us again on earnmorekeepmore.show and check us out on the socials. Continue the conversation. Let's really focus in on this takeaway and how you can implement it into your business.
On Facebook, we got a nice little forum, too, where people can share what their goals are. But personally, my goal is to hire 2 more people this year, full-time. So I'm just going to lay it out there.
2 more. If you're extremely talented, go right to mattlove.com and
send an email with your resume. We'll see what you got.
See what you got. Everybody has an A game.
Yes.
Everybody has a good idea of how to bring their A game. But we want to hear from you guys out there. What is your F game? So we're going hashtag F game.
Hashtag F game.
Does that won't take them to a bad site or anything?
F game?
Will it? F game?
I don't think so.
I hope not. If it's anything but what we're talking about, please leave immediately. That is not what we intended for you. But hashtag F game. Hashtag F game. We want to hear what your F game is, what you can leave behind in the 2019 in order to focus more on earning more and keeping more, much more in line with your A game. So again,
love it.
earnmorekeepmore.show. We'll see you next time.
See you guys.
Drop the mic.
Matt, we just turned the calendar from 18 to 19. And whenever that happens, once a year we have an opportunity. And that opportunity is to really focus in and make some decisions about our lives. Have the New Year's resolution to really focus on the habits.
Right, correct.
How can we create the habits that will allow us to earn more and keep more? If we can create enough of those habits and build up that wall of habits that everything has to filter through, it will give ramifications of success.
Yep.
Because it has to.
Yep.
It has to.
Absolutely. You know, there's only two ways to increase your business. The first way is to increase your sales. Everybody knows this. Increasing your sales is hard to do. It might mean you spend more money. It might mean you take more risk. You have to change some things to increase the level of production that you're creating. The only other way to increase your business is to reduce the cost it took you to get there. So in your resolutions, there's one of two things you should be focusing on. How are you going to get to the next level as far as sales go? And given the sales that you've already made, how can you reduce your cost?
Let's do it. Let's get out there and earn more and keep more.
This has been a Goalpost production.
That's it for us. We are your hosts, Dave McAndrews and Matt Love. Our executive producer and creative guru is Jennifer McKinstry. Our social media director is Mark Farnes. And a very special thank you to Lansing's own Jose Moore for providing the music.
Thanks for listening.